Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to do another Ghostbusters 3 video. And the reason we're doing this is now we're starting to see the media's reaction to the announcement of there being a Ghostbusters 3 that basically ignores the 2016 reboot.
Yeah, he was very nice about it. He said that's another continuity, and there's probably more stories for that, but this is not one of them.
Yeah, Jason Reitman in his statement to EW, yeah, he was very diplomatic. I thought he was very cool about it. He didn't diss the 2016 film.
No, that's what they do.
Yeah,
they diss everything else but the 2016 film.
But you know, we've got two different opinions here. We've got one from a right-leaning website pointing out that Twitter is not happy about this. Ignoring the 2016 reboot, and then we're going to go to Mary Sue, which again...
Which way they lean? I don't know. I always thought they were balanced.
The Mary Sue, which gives kind of a backhand slap to the fact that we're ignoring 2016 Ghostbusters, we're handing the reins over to the son of the original director, and yeah.
And people told me...
How dare they?
On Twitter, they had asked people their opinions, and people gave their opinions on Twitter, and their opinions were being deleted.
Yeah, there were actually comments that were being deleted. Was that on the Mary Sue or on the YouTube? Okay.
It was on the Mary Sue.
And they weren't like scathing, right? They were just like, "Hey, I'm glad they're bringing the original Ghostbusters back."
They were like, because the Mary Sue talks about this being a reboot, and it's like, this isn't a reboot. This is a sequel. The other one was a reboot, and then that apparently is bad. You can't say that.
It is a deboot. They're undoing the reboot. Therefore, they're debooting Ghostbusters. They're debooting Ghostbusters.
Okay.
So this is coming from Twitchy. A new Ghostbusters is announced, and blue checks are not happy. It features men once again.
I'm sorry. I thought this was funny.
In the summer of 2016, there was social upheaval when an all-female cast of quote-unquote Ghostbusters was released in the theaters. It became a cultural civil war where one side claimed you were supposed to approve of the change, and the other side stated it bastardized the original concept.
I think a lot of people thought it was completely unnecessary, and somehow that became, if you know, you're misogynist. But anyway, go ahead.
You are a misogynist if you don't like the idea of them rebooting an 80s classic for no good reason. In the end, the movie was a disappointment in all manner. It was an unfunny comedy. It did nothing to add to the Ghostbusters canon, and it was a financial failure. This is the biggest one right here.
Right there.
Hardcore fans were dismayed, but now there is a reason for them to be filled with hope. Enter Jason Reitman. Enter Jason Reitman. He found the car. So Jason Reitman, of course, is directing Ghostbusters 3. Ernie Hudson is on board. This is bigger than 100-foot Marshmallow Man. Yeah, awesome. So the teaser indicates that there will be a brand new entry into the Ghostbusters universe, and it will be directed by Jason Reitman, who has made Juno in this year's Tully. I haven't seen Tully, but Juno was pretty decent. He also has a bit of a pedigree with the franchise. We know that because he literally grew up on the set of Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, and he was the kid who said, "My dad says you guys are full of crap" at the birthday party. That was Jason Reitman. So. Yeah, we talked about this before, that Dan Aykroyd has been spoiling.
He's been saying it for a while.
He's been saying it for almost ever since the 2016 movie came out. He pretty much threw them under the bus within like a month or two.
Yeah, but before he was like, "Oh, it's great, I have my blessing," and then he's like, "Under the bus to go." But,
yeah, I think once he realized that they could do a proper sequel, he was like, "Yeah, well, screw this. I'm not playing this anymore." So the telling line in the interview was Aykroyd saying they're making an effort to bring back all the emotion and spirit of the first two movies. So studios described the new film as the next chapter in the original story. This means the 2016 misfire will be held up as a standalone release, disconnected from the storyline, and will be forgotten in time.
Like Jason Reitman said, it's a different story, a different universe, and maybe there's room for more of that later. But right now, we're going back to the sequel of this, and that's fine. People are allowed to like that one; they're allowed to hate that one. Real Ghostbusters fans, true Ghostbusters fans, are going to be happy that there's another movie, whether or not it's a 2016 cast or a new cast.
Yeah.
That's a sequel to the originals. Ghostbuster fans are going to be like, "Hey, we're getting a new movie." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so people are kind of like, it's weird that the My Dad Says You Guys Are Full of Crap kid from the second movie is now heading the third one as director and co-writer.
Why is it weird?
It's weird because if that's all he did, but he actually is a director in his own right. You know, so it's
like, really? That's what your go-to
and
is?
You would think somebody who grew up around the set, filming these movies, whose dad, worked on them, that he would have a really good understanding of what makes a Ghostbuster movie work. So it is kind of weird, but yeah, I think this is called a panic. This is panic. Like Sony's like, crap. We want Ghostbusters to be the MCU. We want it to be a big thing, and we had one shot and we freaking blew it. So let's get this is like the city freaking out and calling the Ghostbusters.
I'm sorry. I'm so distracted by the fact that I'm just thinking that people are going to come in here and they're going to watch us and be like, see, we said you were alt-right.
Oh,
and
my
like,
God.
We're actually looking at two different sites on extremes.
We're going to look at two different,
So
we're going to look at two different
I'm going to clarify this right now because we always get the commenter. It's like, you're just alt-right Nazis. Hey, I'm clarifying this now. You probably didn't even listen this far because you probably took one look at the title and made up your mind. We actually lean left. So
it doesn't matter if you tell them that.
I don't. I'm
It
just
doesn't
saying.
matter.
I'm just trying to circumvent the whole you're alt-right Nazis because you're listening to an alt-right blog, and I'm like, no, we're just trying to compare and contrast. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so anyway, so this is the story. Twitter is not happy. Twitter, of course, being very, very far left. Twitter was definitely behind 2016 Ghostbusters, as was Tumblr, and Twitter is kind of freaking out a little bit. They're like, they'd rather not have any more Ghostbusters than have 2016 Ghostbusters erased from history. Like they're gonna pretend it didn't happen. So here we've got some here. Smart to get in on the series when it's in a creative ditch and fans are clamoring for someone to save the series. Okay.
I thought most people thought that was it and they weren't getting it anymore.
Scott Mendelson from Forbes. He's actually one of the big movie reviewers. Hiring Jason Reitman to direct Ghostbusters 3 is a deeply cynical play that is probably going to be a big hit.
It probably is going to be a big hit.
This movie better break $1 billion at the box office. And you know what? If they do it right, even if it's not amazing, if it kicks you in the feels, it'll work. It'll do.
Why is it a cynical play? That's what I'm understanding. How is it cynical?
It's cynical because 2016 Ghostbusters failed. Next, we're going back to the original. New Coke didn't work. We're going back to the original formula.
That's not cynical. That's just
that's
smart.
business. That's business, Scott. That's not cynical. That is
like here he says that decision
business.
3 years ago to make a social statement with an all-female cast to appeal to millennials was not cynical.
Scott in his piece can only see the social negatives. On one hand, you're rewarding a white... Oh, my God, Scott, come on. On one hand...
Says the white male.
Says the white male. On one hand, you're rewarding a white male director whose last 5 movies bombed. The keys to a hugely valuable franchise, mostly because he's the son of the guy who directed the first 2 Ghostbusters movies. And yes, unintentional or not, you're essentially rewarding the specific demographics who reacted in the very worst way to the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot with the thing they claim to want instead of the horror's all-female sci-fi comedy. No, they didn't want a reboot. They did not want a reboot.
Most people say they just didn't think it was necessary to reboot Ghostbusters. They wanted a sequel or nothing. They didn't want a reboot. They thought it was stupid to reboot. I remember I was there, and I'm a woman, Scott. So, you know what? I'm a woman, and I thought it was stupid. And it's like they reacted in the worst way. You know what? This is what gets me. Says the people reacting in the worst way now.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm saying. These people who are having the colossal baby shit fits now.
Colossal baby shit fits?
Are the people that were like telling everybody else they're being babies because it's not your property. They can do what they want. They want to do something more progressive. That's up to them. You need to shut up because it's not yours. Says the people now whining and having a fit that, they're just giving in to the haters. They're just getting into the man babies as they're having a man baby hissy fit on Twitter.
Yep, pretty much. So fans saying we don't want to see a woke Busters movie is reacting in the worst way, mind you. Mm-hmm. Scott's not alone. No, he's not. I've actually seen many of these tweets myself in my timeline.
And the thing is, I think people, they're just like, 1, why do we need a reboot? Why can't we have a sequel? And 2, why does it have to be all women? Because, I'm sorry, as a woman, a mixed cast would have been better. And I don't understand why. The only way women could be strong females in a movie is if they're all women. And my son has said to me a couple times, why is it that every male character in the new movie is either bad or stupid?
Because that's the way it should be.
They're either idiots. You got the Chinese delivery guy who's an idiot.
Yeah.
You got
Chris Hemsworth,
an idiot.
And then the creepy stalkerish,
the really creepy guy who's the bad guy villain.
Yeah.
It's like and then you have the original Ghostbusters guys in there, and Bill Murray's character's an a-hole. And Dan Aykroyd's character's cab driver, and he's like, I don't believe in no ghosts. And he's kind of a jerk, too. I mean, they deliberately went out of their way to make all the men in that movie either stupid or bad.
Or bad and stupid.
Yeah, so my point is, I'm like, this is coming from my son who noticed it on his own. He's like, why? What did men do to them? Kind of thing. Go ahead.
So this is coming from Heat Vision. The revival of Ghostbusters in this form feels cynical and insincere in its pursuit.
Did they have like a thing that they all had to say cynical?
Cynical.
Was there like a powwow?
Yeah,
Did they all get together and decide that the word cynical is what they need to use in this? Like, did they have assigned words?
Today's word is cynical. Cynical. Repeated. Cynical.
Today's word for me is douchebag.
Cynical and insincere in its pursuit of a demographic unsatisfied by the last attempt, which is surely the opposite of everyone involved. It's something weird and it don't look good. Who are we supposed to call about this kind of exorcism? We're gonna exorcise the haters? Is that, I don't know.
Exorcism of what?
The haters, the man babies. Slate. Now everyone's childhood can be ruined.
Oh, you mean, but no, didn't you already do that with the 2016 one?
Yeah.
That's what I love. I have some words from Matt. Go ahead.
Matt Fowler. I hope the story is about a phantom that possesses the internet and turns men into toxic, insecure shit babies who yell at random women.
Says Matt, who's having a hissy fit about a movie and acting like a toxic, insecure shit baby and talking to people who are reading this that aren't all men, because I'm a woman. So are you trying to tell me what I should and shouldn't think, Matt? Are you a toxic, insecure shit baby who has to tell women what to think? I think so.
Don't tell geeky.
Pot or kettle. Pot or kettle there. You can be pot. Like I said, I prefer kettle. Kettles make a lot more noise, so I prefer kettle. You can be the pot. Go ahead.
You can be the pot. Eric Goldman, who I believe works for Marvel. I think he works for Marvel. I'm totally fine with there being a new Ghostbusters movie set in the original universe. I just hate that the worst people will take credit for winning. Well, they did. Because they were so against the idea of a female Ghostbusters. No. A lot of people were not against the idea of a female Ghostbusters. A lot of people were against the idea of a poorly conceived reboot of a movie that, frankly, should never be rebooted.
And not just that. It was because their go-to to try to be like the deflective shield was it's all female. So if you don't like this idea, automatically you're a misogynist.
Yeah.
Except, hey, Eric, again, I'm a woman. I'm a woman who thought, I'll give it a chance, even though I thought it was a dumb idea. And I think my words were, why don't we have a mixed cast that makes more sense? And why isn't it a sequel? But beyond that, I was like, okay, I'll give it a chance. And I still thought it was poop. So you know what? And you know, this is what this says to me. I'm totally fine with there being a new movie. So I think Eric likes the idea, but I can't say I like the idea because then everybody will be mad at me. I've got the blue check mark of SJWism. So if I say that I like,
that is
if
like
I say I like it, everybody's gonna be mad at me. So, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm fine with the idea, but I just hate that they're gonna say it. We won. Because, don't kill me. I'm gonna make sure I get a dig in there too, but actually, I really like the idea. I can't say that on Twitter. They'll kick my ass.
Well, it's just it. You can't say that, this is really what should have happened.
I'll be on a block list if I don't say what they want.
Oh my god. Okay, so now we're going to the Mary Sue. Mary Sue.
Oh, this is what I saw last night and I commented on it.
God.
I told you about this. You have to start at the beginning.
Yeah, okay, let's start at the beginning.
Okay, so my turn. In a world of unnecessary, didn't we just boot this reboots? This is not a reboot.
It's not a reboot.
Sequel. The unnecessary reboot was the 2016 version. We are getting a new Ghostbusters film, not a sequel to Feige's female-led film. Why would you? Rather, a third film in the original Ghostbusters universe. So first off, we're going to have to claim it's a reboot. It's not a reboot. The 2016 was a reboot. And now we're whining because there wasn't a sequel to the 2016 reboot.
This is a deboot. They're debooting 2016. They're pretending the 2016 movie never happened. It is being debooted. They rebooted it. That was a huge mistake, and now they're debooting it.
There you go. And they're talking about how it's going to be directed by Jason Reitman and Gil, is it Kenan?
Yeah.
This film will be set in the present day rather than the 80s, which is cool. Is working on animated Ghostbusters will come out after this film is released, which we talked about on our other video. They're talking about the teaser, and then they get to this. Still, there are a few things to unpack about this particular film and announcement. One is that we don't necessarily need a reboot of a franchise that was sort of rebooted in 2016.
Sort of?
You know what? My favorite quote's later in this article. But you know what? We don't need a reboot. Yeah, that's what everybody said in 2016. But how come when everybody said in 2016 this doesn't need a reboot, they were told to shut up, it wasn't their franchise and they're misogynists. Now they say it here on Mary Sue and it's supposed to be gospel. Except they can't be gospel because most of them are atheists. But you know what I mean.
I don't understand. I don't understand. No, the original Ghostbusters did not need to be rebooted at all. They're debooting Ghostbusters.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they're
it's hypocritical.
About how we don't need a reboot. And that's what people said last time. And when people said that last time, they immediately got told they were misogynists because it happened to be all female cast, and they didn't want a reboot.
They go there. They go there further down the paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ghostbusters 2016, unfortunately, did not perform incredibly well at the box office. You don't say. Partially due to the backlash from angry fans who were furious that 4 women had been cast in the lead roles.
That wasn't the issue for most people.
Some people were mad about that, I'm sure. Actually, I was kind of like, why 4 women? Why can't you do a mixed cast? I'm a woman. I immediately like, oh, here we go. We have to make it all women to make sure that we show the men. And I was like, why can't we just have a mixed cast and have a good movie? I mean, I just don't understand
that would have been
Or
smart.
have female leads. And I saw who the women actors were. A lot of them, I was like, yeah, but okay.
There were so many. Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, I think, would have made better Ghostbusters than most of the cast.
Yeah, and like the cast wasn't the greatest. And some of the actors that were good just didn't do well in this. Still, a low box office is not a sequel earn, so Sony's decision to fall back on the title seems somewhat odd. No, it doesn't.
No, the first 2 were massive hits, and there's no reason why a new Ghostbusters movie, couldn't hit at least $500 million. Preferably, $800 to $1 billion. And I think this one, if it's done well, will absolutely do that.
80s nostalgia is huge right now. It makes total sense. It didn't work in 2016. We're going to try it again now that 80s is even bigger. And we're going to go back to the roots, which is smart. Because you know what? It's funny. They're just mad because Sony isn't pissing all over the fans. Because the only time these people seem happy is when they think that they're on a soapbox literally hosing the fans and calling them every name under the sun, like the people with She-Ra and everything else. These are the people that were like, you're just a bunch of misogynist men and all this other crap. It's like, you know what? Right back at you. You're just a whiny baby too.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about the original film, 50-50 split men and women, which I think would be a smart decision.
So wait, okay. Yeah, I saw a tweet saying the new team would be a 50-50 split.
They didn't say.
Unfortunately, we have not seen any official announcement or if this is officially the breakdown of new characters. However, it's unlikely the film will focus on 4 women.
Thank God!
It doesn't have to. Why does it have to?
I'm a woman, and I'm like,
Why does it have
I'm
to?
tired of you clinging to this whole idea that the only way you have to prove women are better than men, and the only way to do that is to take characters and make them all women now and gender swap them. I'm like, that doesn't prove anything. Why can't a character be a strong female because she's a strong female? Why, you know what I mean? You keep just focusing on the novelty of, making it women for men and not on actual good characters.
Yeah, it's almost like because we had 4 men in the original Ghostbusters, then therefore it's only fair if we have 4 women in the new Ghostbusters.
I know, but it wasn't done as a sexist way.
No, it was just that.
Those guys all got together and they put the movie together.
They worked together.
Guys, it'd be fun to do this movie together.
All these guys worked together at Saturday Night Live and Second City, and they worked on Stripes, and they all knew each other, and they're all like, "Let's do a movie about the paranormal." And
I mean, any more so than it's sexist that they have all female characters in She-Ra or Sailor Moon. It was it wasn't anything about trying to prove against men until now. But back then it was like, well, let's have a team of girls. It wasn't anything about that. Go ahead.
So here we go. So there now we're testing. This is the backhand slap. Reitman has in the past directed several films centered on strong women, such as Juno. Yeah, we keep forgetting he actually is a director. It's not just like Dad just gave him the keys to the Ecto one, and he has directed critically acclaimed.
Like someone like Mary Sue let anybody write for them.
He actually directed a few. Now some of his movies didn't do well at the box office. That's everybody, But given the reaction to 2016's female reboot, it's hard not to read more into this decision.
There's not much to read into it.
It almost feels as though Sony is trying to appease the crying fanboys who raged about women busting ghosts by giving them what they wanted, a sequel to the originals directed by the son of the man who directed the first film, with the potential from cameos from the original Ghostbusters cast as their original characters. Yes, you know what? That actually is what the fans want.
And it's not just male fans, it's female
everybody.
fans too. I'm a woman,
everybody.
And I don't want more 2016 Ghostbusters.
No.
I'd rather have a sequel. I think they could have saved themselves a lot of hassle had they made the 2016 movie, the sequel, and had a mixed cast. We could have avoided a lot of this shit. Anyway.
Oh my God. That's not to say that Reitman's vision might not be inclusive or funny or a great film. It just seems unnecessary.
That's what I took out. That's the quote I used on Twitter. It just seems unnecessary. Now, here's my comment back to you. When people said that in 2016, people like you had a fit. What do you mean it's not necessary? Of course it's necessary. It's not your franchise. But they can do what they want. If they want to make it women, then that's what they're going to do because they're progressive and we're going to support them. And how dare you? And now that it's not the way you want, I just don't think it's necessary. So everybody gonna start calling this person names? Because you do think that you're against men or something.
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying I can do the exact same thing to you.
It gets better because this just shows the hypocrisy. And like Sony was caving into the demands of the masses who are furious about a more inclusive Ghostbusters future. No, Sony wants to make money off of Ghostbusters. They want a Ghostbusters movie that's actually going to perform, and rebooting it with all new people wasn't a smart move. But that's the worst part of it all. It seems for every step forward, we're taking 2 steps back in Hollywood. Hopefully, Reitman's film will make a case for its own existence.
It has a case for its own existence right now. Fans want it.
Why did 2016 Ghostbusters have to exist? It's a
where's the case for its own existence? Oh wait, the case is because it's for women.
Right.
So it's not about the existence needed or another good movie or a movie that's good anyway. It's just because it was for women Ghostbusters. So you have to like it because it's women.
And hopefully it will not just be a bunch of white men with one person of color and one woman to belay cries of racism and sexism as we should move past that. Can't just have one token person of color in a progressive Ghostbusters, can we?
No, but there was only one person of color in the progressive Ghostbusters.
And they
made her the idiot who wasn't a scientist.
Yeah, I was gonna say, which character was the only one that didn't have a degree? Oh,
the person of color.
The token person of color in the 2016 Ghostbusters.
In their super progressive 2016 Ghostbusters, you think that the bunch of these white women and one person of color would, be beyond racism and sexism. We should move past that with storytelling in a movie. But you know what? This is also the same site that was mad because they were going to reboot Buffy with a black lady.
I don't have any answers.
See, okay, reason I'm saying this about, I'm tired. I'm so flippin' tired of hearing how if you don't like something, and it's because of racism, sexism, some bullshit excuse. They keep using these as a shield, like it's my force field of superiority that I can just bounce whatever anything you send at me, even if it's a legitimate comment, bounces off because racism ping, sexism ping, and I'm like, why you yourself are just talking out your own ass. Plus, I'm a woman and I think you're full of crap. So
well, there you go. That's the final word. You're a woman and you think they're full of crap.
I mean,
my wife thinks you guys are full of crap. My wife thinks you guys are full of crap.
Yeah. Ideally, I'd love to see a mixed cast. I mean, ideally, a sequel was what they should have done in the first place. But if you're going to do it, I mean, a mixed cast, I don't hear anybody say that's a bad idea. Do you?
No.
Except for these people who are mad about
women.
Well,
because they went to bat. They went to bat for 2016 Ghostbusters. And now it doesn't exist anymore.
It
still exists.
And the thing is, some people are going to like it.
Your childhoods will not be ruined.
Our daughter likes it. Yeah. And that is okay.
Yeah, she does.
And some people are not going to like it. And that is also okay. And the new movie, some people are going to like it. And that is okay. And some people aren't going to like it. And that is okay. And that's what we keep saying on here. I'm so tired of the whole bullcrap that you have to like what they say or there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you whether you like it or don't like it. You're allowed to have preferences. My gosh.
This is ending. I think this is. I think the pendulum is swinging back toward a more sane approach in dealing with the fandom. I think these studios and these publishers are starting to realize they cannot attack fans and still get their money. It doesn't work that way. Regardless of what their own personal politics are, you can't attack people and expect them to give you money.
I wanted to say one more thing, because I know we're going longer, we said. And I said this on Twitter last night, and this whole idea, this is what blows my mind. These people have this whole idea that it tanked because of these extreme man babies that are on social media. Okay, let's be realistic here. Most people, this movie went out all over. Most people did not go to see it. So that implies that most people that aren't, most of them aren't on the social media on either side, or they're just in the middle, didn't go see it because they didn't want to, they didn't care, they weren't interested, whatever. They cannot all be misogynistic man babies. The general public is who, I don't care what extremes argue what on Twitter. The general public's going to decide if a movie does well or not.
Well, yeah, it's the same with Solo. Like, a lot of people didn't turn up, and I think Star Wars fans boycotting the hardcores, boycotting was part of it, but for it to fail as badly as it did, the general public had to not give a shit.
Because most people, I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of people they are not on social media, and if they are, they have their own little groups that are like their family groups. They aren't listening to the extremists on Twitter. I mentioned other people about stuff, and they're like, what's going on now? They don't even know. So if it bombed, it's because the majority of people didn't care, weren't interested, didn't want to go see it. It has absolutely nothing to do with sexism, has nothing to do with gender politics, has nothing to do with any of that. It's just they didn't care. I mean,
yeah,
you can't
that's
all
the
be
worst.
incel, man, baby, racist, whatever, you know?
No.
So stick it and sit and spin because, you know, you're full of it.
My wife says you guys are full of crap. So are we gonna wrap this one up?
Yeah, sorry it went long.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. This conversation is going to continue for the next year and a half or however long it is until Ghostbusters 3 comes out. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of salt thrown at Ghostbusters 3 for various reasons. So this has been Neon and Geeky. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already for more pop culture news, views, rants, art videos, gaming videos, and more.
Bye.
Goodbye.